These men were once soldiers of fortune. They are veterans of the war in Bosnia. They want to get back to the besieged city of Mostar, scene of the most prolonged and brutal fighting of the entire conflict. But this time they will return to Mostar. Their return journey will be hazardous. If caught, they will almost certainly die.
They have to shoot every single one in the jeep.
Ron Warren wants to return to Mostar to marry this girl. They got engaged just before he was captured and deported from Bosnia. Jim Wilson is going back to find this man, a Bosnian Muslim soldier whose life he once saved. The airport road into the Croatian city of Split, a place former mercenaries fear.
Place we wouldn't have a second thought of putting a bullet through our head, you know. Especially in Split, there's a few people know us, you know. Keep a low profile, get out of here tomorrow, get up the road into our own turf, you know.
There are other former mercenaries trying to get back to Mostar. They arrived here in Split a few days ago to find out if the Croats knew anything about this secret expedition. But they're reluctant to face the camera. Their leader, John, has bad news.
Part of our journey. Well, for starters, I have to tell you that Ron can't go into Bosnia. As you all know, Ron was exchanged as a POW, and his name is now on a list. And there is no way that I would accept bringing him along with us. Your liability, not just to yourself, but to everybody else.
Well, we always knew that option was possible. We got well, by Sarajevo.
Okay, now if we can move on. Is here.
Ron Warren, though resigned to having to return to Britain, is nonetheless stunned to have it confirmed that he is on a Croat death list.
4 days before the actual first fighting in Mostar, I got stopped on the street and promptly lifted and taken to the headquarters. I was in prison for 6 weeks. Once I was actually handed over and actually expelled from the country and flown out under police escort. The British Embassy has been in touch with me since then and said, like, they've been in touch with us. If you ever come back, they're going to kill you.
First light is still some way off. Jim Wilson and his fellow Brits start their run for Mostar, 120 miles away. Ron stays behind.
See you later.
Those who go must now try to con their way through hostile and dangerous military checkpoints. A journey which in peacetime would take no more than 3 hours. But in this war, it could take a month. One of the biggest worries now is crossing the battle lines by mistake and ending up on the wrong side with the wrong papers.
The lines aren't always strong and visible. There's a lot of enclaves, which means you can be maybe half an hour driving in a Bosnian area. You go out 100 metres, you'll be into a Croatian area, 200 metres, you'll be back out of it. It's just a little stretch of the road they may have, but it'll be connecting different enclaves. Very mixed up situation, you know. Looking at that valley down there, yeah, a couple of clicks along the border between Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina.
The ex-mercenaries are hoping that by travelling with a British film crew, they will be safe from discovery or attack by Croatian or Serbian border guards.
When you know where you are, the bastards.
But filming checkpoints is prohibited and highly dangerous. And to capture these moments, the crew secretly used a video camera.
Just marking your numbers off as you come through.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please.
The crows do splash out. The main thing there with them is robbery. That's the biggest fear. And further to the south of the country, recognition as well. Big danger of getting robbed and killed because of it. They had sussed out who we were and what we'd done in the past, like they'd have stuck our throat.
They made the balls up with the numbers into the truck.
They're playing Mr. Nice Guy at the moment, helping out journalists and things, but you get further down the road, the French tell you to be careful in case they've stuck a landmine under your vehicle, you know, so
actually before Prozo.
There are now 3 former mercenaries making this trip. 9 months ago, the team of fighters who came to the former Yugoslavia with them numbered 8. 6 Britons and 2 Scandinavians.
Come on, tell me about that.
Well, most of them are dead now. Of the ones still alive, they're still fighting. It was a very close unit. It was a very close unit. I mean, coming from different backgrounds as we did, we all had something in common. You know, we used to all go into action together, and it kind of molds you together a lot quicker than it would in a civilian environment. We might get some problems on the checkpoints crossing the border.
There's no entering Bosnia.
Once again, at checkpoints, the camera must be concealed. The guards do not know they are being videoed.
Be careful, I can't get there.
Well, I told him, I said,
Yeah, this is a problem. I see the Croatian flag, you know. I think it's there's a fence. The biggest fear is failure of getting there. You don't know nothing about what's happening to the people, you know. Who's still going to be alive, who's going to be dead, how their families are. People dying of starvation like we've been led to believe it's going to be soon. I don't think I want to see that, you know.
There is danger even driving through Croat towns. This man is a Croatian HVO soldier having a beer. The object in his hand is an automatic pistol. It's the camera he doesn't like.
Explain to the captain whatever. Fucking cunt pulls a pistol up, fucking place at the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, get that fucking camera down.
Watch them boys after a few beers, right?
People merchants, you know.
They wouldn't hesitate in letting a round off, huh?
They're not soldiers, you know. Never seen battle in their life, no. Russian shit. Dodged the gangster. Now it's time to dodge the shrapnel. In this area, we've got heavy as well as heavy troops massing, yeah, expecting an attack, possibly this evening, yeah. The UN are telling their boys, we don't expect the Bosnians to give up. Don't give up land without a fight, yeah. And it's very doubtful there'll be any more convoys going out. Expect some incoming round over here, yeah.
The group are close to the Croat border with Bosnia. They are worried about landmines and being attacked by Croat artillery. They've hired a local woman to act as their translator.
But we should go to HVO commanding place to ask them, and somewhere uphill are 3 front lines. And if you go there to HVO commanding place, ask them about checkpoints, about the mines, about everything, they can contact the front line.
And tell them we're coming.
And tell them that we're coming, not to shell us.
The man says they'll be killed if they don't go back. The road is mined and shells are falling.
Where's police?
The Croatian police have arrested everyone. The ex-mercenaries and the television crew are now in serious trouble. The HVO militia also tearing their vehicle apart.
There he is. Yep, I hope we've not got a list, mate. Huh? I hope we've not got a list. We're going to get a bullet in the head.
This crisis has happened because the travellers drove through an unmanned Croat checkpoint without stopping.
This will be...
Fucking dicing with fucking death and that. Serious fucking
I know,
dicing.
I'm not fucking happy sitting here like that. The sooner they do their bit and let us go, the better, you know. The day before, we had been stopped on the same road at a checkpoint with a handwritten sign saying UN checkpoint and a lot of local banditos, as we call them. The next day, when we drove up to a checkpoint, it was deserted. Drove maybe 600 metres down the road. Big fight broke out, stuck in the middle of it. We pulled over, lit a hothead, had us lined up against the wall. That was a very tense situation. It's one of them times when you just keep your mouth shut, let them do his shouting, get the opportunity to leave and do it as quickly as possible.
We were stopped by all the soldiers who rushed out, who'd obviously been involved in the firefight or were on communications at the time. And not understanding a word of what they were saying, they just ripped our gear off us.
We were marched off and lined up against a wall. And at that point, we weren't really sure what they were going to do. And then all of a sudden, the car screeched to a halt and their local commander jumped out. He took his pistol out and he smashed the butt of it against the window of our car, broke it.
And they ripped our accreditation off us, waved the pistol in all our faces.
And then all of a sudden, Daniela, our interpreter, just said, "Get in the car, let's go, we're clear." So we didn't hesitate, we didn't ask about the gear, we scrambled around the ground, picked our accreditation up, and we went.
It would have been very easy for anyone to die at that moment, and if one had died, the rest would have died to hide it.
John has been to the Croat headquarters to recover cameras stolen during the checkpoint arrest. On the way back, he was attacked.
What's this?
We took 3 rounds. 3 rounds, fucking.
Where's the other one?
On the way out.
Another one there, another one stuck in the wheel.
Oh.
Fucking zipped it, eh? Skimmed the seat, hit me in the arm and went out through the fucking engine. Is that serious or what? Fucking zapped us through 2 grenades at us, fucking opened up. Whoa! Anyway, we got that one back as well.
Got your camera.
Oh, I got his camera back.
Get insurance back on that.
The group must spend at least one more night in Croatian territory. Mostar seems an age away. The fighting continues throughout the night. This battleground is just outside the British UN Army base at Vitez. Croat artillery has been trying to stop Bosnian infantry from gaining ground and inflicting a bloody defeat. Dawn brings news that Bosnian forces have triumphed.
The Bosnian army come down the hill to confront the HVO forces. Why they were quite successful was because it was more surprise, and where they didn't have the artillery, they made up for it with raw guts. We did hear them screaming coming down the hill. I think actually I was told after it was Mujahideen involvement. I quite believe it, because it was a Mujahideen tactic. Everyone down the hill as fast as they can, get down.
Jim and his companions decide to abandon their attempts to sneak into Mostar. Now they'll try to get in as part of an official UN convoy. If they can't make it this time, everyone returns home to Britain.
It's now 6:38. We've been up for a whole 20 minutes. Now leaving for our jumping off point. Hopefully be with Baba and Mostar at dinner time. It's rock and roll.
We'll leave here at 0730 hours.
This is a UN briefing for the convoy drivers who face death every time they get behind the wheel.
Small arms fire. A number of warriors were struck by the odd stray high-velocity round. Yesterday also a Sea King helicopter travelling north was struck by small arms fire en route to Kiselyar. They then proceeded to attack Stari Vitez, which is the small Muslim enclave immediately around the camp itself, and that was ongoing yesterday afternoon.
Well, just past the border, cross through the Croatian side, we're now approaching the HVO checkpoint. Let's see if we get by. Hopefully.
The last Croat border post, the final frontier. One more barrier on the long road to Mostar. But this is where an arrest is most likely to come, even with the UN convoy as cover.
Well, it looks like the Croatians are not wanting to let us into Bosnia. They're fucking us about for paperwork and permission and everything else. We'll see. We may be slack. Might be able to talk our way through it, but it's not looking good.
The convoy is carrying much-needed flour for East Mostar, where the Bosnians are holed up, and the Croats don't like it, despite its humanitarian purpose.
Try to sort it out by radio, but I doubt it. I don't reckon our chances very much, you know. I'm sure I recognise that fucker with the blonde hair who's fucking us about. Just hope he doesn't recognise me.
The convoy and the civilian vehicles are allowed through. The border has been crossed safely. Jim is nearly home.
How far do you think Mostar is from here? 4 or 5 k's? Just up underneath them hills there, you said? 10. Down to the river, down below. People back home don't know nothing about this war. They've not got a clue. Yeah, it's pure genocide, pure fascism. They want to wipe a population out and cut up the country, you know. There's a lot of political reasons why it's been allowed to happen, but that's what it comes down to, it's genocide.
26, we are proceeding across the runway, over.
The last mile on the road to Mostar involves crossing the local airstrip. The runway runs under the guns of the Croat army.
It's a very dangerous part of the trip. It's open ground, being shot on at a time, a lot of fire going down. The fear is obviously making it that last couple of miles into the city alive. I'd like to live till I'm old and have lots of memories, but if I die young, my life will have been worth living if I've done something, tried to help people, you know. But it's how you die. If you get one through the head, it's over, you know, but if the Chetniks get you and slit you apart, then you don't want that, you know. This is safe route. That top road goes over high. What? That top road goes over the top end, the old town, so it'd just be a target, you know.
Jim Wilson has made it back to Mostar. The former Yugoslavia's third largest city is under constant bombardment by both Croat and Serbian forces. The Bosnian defenders are pinned down in the eastern part.
Mostar's a city under siege. To the west is the Ustasha. They have all the high ground. The Bosnian army hold the strip about 200 metres on the west side of the city. A couple of k's of dead ground, no man's land. And then you've got the Chetnik artillery positions. The boys are in the valley, totally exposed.
This is a rare success for the UN. Most humanitarian aid has been turned back.
Over. Right in behind them in the cover, open on that side.
An estimated 30,000 men, women and children who are not frontline soldiers have been living on the edge of starvation for at least a year. This will be their first real chance of food for months.
Ovo sve srušeno, sve.
Turista, huh?
Yeah, oh.
Yeah, many years ago. Yeah, beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
Turkish.
Turkish, yes. Yeah.
Preko mosta.
We should be going to Mostar at least 3 times a week, and we're lucky at the moment if we can get there once a month. Mostar, of course, as you're aware, is fraught with danger. Our first concern, of course, is for the safety of our drivers. They're all in soft-skin vehicles, so we must give them first thought.
When we actually got in, where we parked, I know the area like the back of my hand, but I never knew where it was, you know. It's nothing like what it was the last time. They have just flattened it and destroyed it. That's urban warfare. No, it's a city that's divided. It's in close, it's tight, street fighting, you know. Bunker to bunker.
The warring sides in the civil war all accuse each other of mistreating prisoners of war. These men unloading the trucks are Croat soldiers. The fighting around the warehouse has got worse. The UN relief workers have decided to pull out.
Yeah, what we've decided to do, due to this heavy shelling and this small arms fire that seems to be concentrated in this area, we've agreed with the local people here. We will offload all the trucks and then away.
Onto the pavement?
Yeah, onto the pavement, yeah, and then when it's dark, of course, they'll be able to move everything. Safely, we hope.
Can't risk anyone.
No, it's getting a little bit airy, and these guys are exposed. You can see them standing on top of trucks, and they're right in the line of sniper fire, so we can't risk their lives, and we can't risk our lives also.
Jim has been searching for his friend Baba. There are no Bosnian soldiers around, so he can only seek help from the shell-shocked residents.
Underground, that's how he is.
Yes, sir. No, 300 or 400 metres.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I'm back because a lot of good friends have died out here, If I do lose anyone when I'm here, I prefer to be with them than sitting in England getting told about it. At least here, I can be with them.
The long-awaited reunion with Baba.
Baba's probably my best friend in Bosnia, certainly. He was with a HVO unit we worked with when we went over to the Bosnian army. He came with us. I spent a lot of time alone with Baba. Went through some hard times with him.
The relationship with Baba, a sergeant in the Bosnian army, was founded when Baba was wounded and left for dead in a minefield near Mostar.
I missed the track and pulled the wire of booby trap. Jim and other Scotsmen pulled me out of minefield. The rest of group is being too scared. Scottish people, they are best people in the world after Bosnians.
He's a fighter and he won't take any other position until after the war. A lot of commanders, they go into politics simply because they had money and they've been able to corrupt power. And Baba, they wanted him to go away to officer school and all sorts of things, but he refused, He says he just wants to be a fighter after the war. They want to make him something, then that's fine.
What is it, Baba?
HVO fort.
Right on the top?
Yeah. From that place they shoot with anti-aircraft gun, machine guns, and snipers. There is no more than 600 meters. And they see that road like this,
Those besieging Mostar prefer to sit on the mountain ridges. They are not renowned as street fighters.
My Croatian enemy, I'd never underestimate them. That's a silly thing for a soldier to do, but in reality, they're not too good. They've got a lot of equipment, they rely on that. They can artillery the shit out of a city for a year and a half, like they've done with Sarajevo. Kill women and children, they won't get in the fight,
This has happened before about 1 week. It's been general shelling of Mostar. Any TV crew is not show these pictures until now. And military observers also shut up about this. They just shut up like horn. They don't want to mention this. And that's something what TO do all the time.
Both the Serbs and the Chetniks, they're just fascists. Between them, they want Bosnia for themselves. The Bosnians have got nowhere else to go, it's their country. But it's back to the Muslim thing. People just call them Muslims and make it out to be a civil war. It's not a civil war. It's a war of aggression from external forces, i.e. Croatia and Serbia. And this place is caught in the middle. But they won't win. See, these people are so resilient. They get by and they survive, and they keep winning. And they will win.
Go from that place. After that is not more safety. Moving. And look at it. Before not so long, this was being one of pearls in world culture. Now this is ruin.
It's the old city, yeah?
Yeah, this is the old city. This is the something what's left from the old city. You can came here to picture this part. No more of that time. You see what have they done. We'll repair that. We just must wait to win. And we will win. We are not so cruel like them. And evil people never win. Win is always on side of good people.
This bridge, I mean, it's the epitome of this place, you know. It's symbolic for this whole city. There used to be, like here, big tower on the other side. And when we come through that rubble, I never even realised we had got to the bridge until I turned the corner and seen the steps, if you like.
The Starry Most Bridge, built during the Ottoman Empire in the 16th century, was one of the great wonders of the ancient world and modern Mostar's tourist attraction.
This is only a ruin of bridge. This was being protected by UN. This kind of protection is same like protection for Bosnian people. I don't fight against Catholics. I don't fight against Orthodox. I don't fight for Islamic State. I don't fight for anything else except against people who are capable to do this. Boban and Tudjman tried to burn and destroy everything they don't like. They hate history. They are afraid of history. They are sick men.
To get this in perspective, I mean, this is the river. You've got the Chetniks are just over the hills. And bloody Havio, just back that way, you know. When I come here before, people were saying it was like Beirut, but you could still see a lot of beauty there, you know.
Jim Wilson insists he's not a mercenary or soldier of fortune anymore. His continued fighting, he says, is for humanitarian reasons.
It's heartbreaking to watch what was happening, and as a soldier I had skills to offer. I'd like to think I was a doctor, and I've come here and be working in a hospital, you know. It may sound hypocritical, but humanitarian reasons, I suppose, you know, although I'm a fighter. Fortress on the hill, that's in Svetigora, that's Chetnik position up there, which we attacked quite a few times in the past. Got quite a lot of heavy kit up there, howitzers, tanks. Big guns that used to pound the city with all the time. From the city there to Chetnik positions looks like a large piece of land, but from here to there is no man's land. From here down to the city is an exposed side of the hill, so it's uninhabitable for the population. There's no way, I mean, it is a big stretch of land, but it's no good whatsoever. That's why everybody isn't in the city. It's safer to get pounded in the city than you're in an exposed hill with nothing, you know. It's a lot harder now than it was before, you know. People are living on the front line, they're having to fight in the front line. But it's the people's army, you know. I hate when they say, oh, food went to the army. It's stupid. The people are the army. The army is supported by people. You know, I mean, the boys go home, they live with their mother at night, you know. Their mothers, all they can do all day is sit getting shelled, waiting to see if their son's coming home alive.
The only way these men can get new weapons and ammunition is by mule train from Sarajevo. but only a fraction gets through.
The shipments were sent down for Bosnia, but obviously the Croatian government was breaking the arms embargo to let arms through at all. So they got their slice. On most occasions you'd end up with maybe the ammunition, and that's about it, you know. Been situations we've been on the hill and calling for support, you know, and you get back down to the bottom of the mountain and they're waiting there for you to hand the rifle over to them so they can go up to do their best with what they've got, you know.
Many thousands of Bosnian or Muslim residents of Mostar have been captured by the Croats. They are interned in these buildings.
It was being old GNA heliport. Now it's Ustaš concentration camp. The
Bosnians had managed to penetrate the concentration camp. Not enough to rescue their people, but enough to estimate that at least 12,000 are being held in this complex. Within the besieged eastern part of Mostar, say those who are trapped here, there is a cross-section of Slavic peoples. It is wrong, they insist, for the rest of the world to label all Bosnians Muslims.
The most important thing is they call these people Muslims here, you know, because it justifies them doing nothing. They think about the Mujahideen, they think about the way the women are treated in the Middle East. It's not a Muslim society, it's that way. It's a multi-ethnic society. The army here is fighting for a multi-ethnic Bosnia. That's what the people want. They don't want a Muslim state. These UN guys come in for a 48-hour duty ever since the convoy got held up. The people wanted a UN presence, so they're here. But the point I want to make here is the people who make these decisions say one thing, that the UN are not allowed to take sides, they shouldn't be doing any of that bollocks, yeah? But at the end of the day, the guys on the ground, they know who's suffering, you know what I mean? Okay, you look in front of you, see all them children climbing out of UN wagons? You won't see that in Croatian territory or in Serbian territory. When the politicians who make the decisions about what the UN guys are allowed to do, they don't know shit. The guys on the ground know who's suffering, they know who they care for. They don't mind these kids, you know? You won't see that anywhere else. These guys know who's suffering, they know the truth. The guys who send them here know shit. Better yourself. Anyway, we're going that way. Watch out for the snipers.
For these exhausted residents, an army water tanker gives a rare opportunity to visit the streets. Most have been forced underground into cellars, where they live as the mortars pound their city above.
Going underground now. Just where civilian population are having to live at the moment because of what's going on in this place. Watch yourself, watch. Be careful. Hopefully we'll be able to speak to a couple of people and see how they're helping to live. You know?
I'm a Croat and my husband was Muslim. All this misfortune started with this war. First, there was the death of my husband who was shot by a sniper on 9th of May. We were left without the home, without everything. And what can I say about all this? The war and everything. This is the biggest evil that could befallen us. This is a misfortune which didn't miss anyone. I'm afraid that us ordinary people are nothing but the toys in the hands of those powerful ones. We decide about nothing and only suffer tremendously.
She's is my sister-in-law, and she's afraid that this will be shown on television in Zagreb, and that she's afraid of the consequences. Only in England. Okay. Don't be afraid. She's crying now, you see. Well, I'm an English teacher, and my husband is a gynecologist, and we have lived here. We have lived here for 27 years. Although we are Muslims, our friends were not only Muslims, but Croats and Serbs. Our houses were burnt on fire, destroyed, demolished. There are 9 of us here. We live under terrible conditions. We are shelled every day. We can't leave this shelter even for 5 minutes, because if we leave it, most of us are killed or wounded. Now winter is coming, and we don't know how we will survive. We are like the animals in the cage, you see now. In the cave and in the cage.
I live here because I think this is the right side. This is my town, and I've always lived here. I was seeing a guy who was a different religion. I was seeing a Muslim. I married a Muslim because I love him. That is why I think I'm on the right side. I live among good people. Nobody is bothering me or maltreating me. And they did maltreated me on the other side because I'm Serbian. I'm Croatian, and my husband was Serbian, and I adopted a Muslim boy. And all told, he had uncles and aunties and cousins. Nobody wanted him, so I took him in. He is 13 years old, and I love him as though he is my own flesh and blood. I wish all this would end as soon as possible, and the people would make up, because we can't live here in any other way. We were all broke up together, and I wish we would go on living together.
The destruction of East Mostar is almost total. Not a street is untouched, and even the most idyllic places are long gone.
This place was being before the war restaurant, quarter of all town. Anyone who was being here before the war here in Mostar will recognize this place. Here they eat pizzas, drink coffees, eat ice or something like that, you know. Now it's destroyed.
Ja prije svega želim...
First of all, I wish that all the power brokers in the world and Europe will stop this war, but not in such a way that our nations, those who want to live together, be placed in some kind of reservation. I believe that all the nations had enough of this war. We just need someone skillful to simply remove those power brokers with whom they negotiate now at the moment and who supposedly represent their nations.
Jim Wilson has found another former comrade, this time the second in command of the defending army. Humo was an architect before the war. He commanded Ron, Warren and Jim the last time they were here.
Where is Ron? London. You couldn't bring him in.
He's in all right, no. You like to go with me or what?
Yeah, command. I'll explain everything to you when we get there. I'll follow you. Okay.
Keep into the left. Keep into the left.
Yeah, I like him. He's a very good soldier. That's the first thing in this war. In peace, you measure what kind of person he is. I know some other ways, but now here you measure what kind of soldier he is. And he's a very good soldier, excellent soldier.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Mostar is divided by a river, the Neretva.
They can shoot for you.
Although the Bosnian army holds land on both sides, it doesn't control it. In Mostar, it's the sniper who rules. To get to his men on the other side, Humo must regularly run a deadly bridge in no man's land.
Which then you can just hand carry, you know.
Which angle are they, Humo?
There on the hill, on one building, to the right. Slightly.
Second thought, I wouldn't do that.
So we are safe here.
Yeah.
But when we are here on the stairs, they can shoot from the left and from each point. And you are safe. You saw him where he is. You are safe on the other side of the room. All right, let's go.
Just go for it all the way if you can. You don't seem to realise that being a journalist is just as much risk as being a soldier out here. Everyone dies sometime, you know. That's how you die. The Chetniks had got us in the way in, or the Ustash had got us in the way in, and I'd maybe be scared of dying that way, you know. But my intention is survival. That's the warmest thing about these people, you know. They're not run up the hill to die for Allah. They want to survive, and they will. They will survive. They got to Zagreb.
This is one of East Mostar's frontline command posts. Jim brings news of former colleagues, British and Scandinavian mercenaries, who are now dead.
Send the money back. Davy Stone got arrested because of Swede for questioning. They grabbed her out of the hotel.
These men are a mixture of races and creeds, comrades in arms trying to hold the line.
Yeah, Croatian police.
We have Croats, company commanders, battalion commanders. We have Serbs too. We don't make any difference between Serbs and Croats. Probably nothing special, but
The Croats have a far larger army, so being overrun is a constant threat. This gun position is within feet of the Croat front line.
The lines are basically across the street. For example, you try to think of a normal terrace British street. It could be as easy as bunkering up your bedroom window across the road. That's your enemy's bedroom window, and he's got his bunkered up. And that's where the front line will be. A lot of fire going back and forth, bunker to bunker every day. Any advance that's got to be made, you've got to get across that open ground of the road. They just machine gun anything that moves. That's where they send, when they cleanse people, exile them, they send them across in the middle, you know.
The killing in Mostar is rarely clean. The Bosnians charge the Croats with cowardice by hiding behind unarmed Bosnian prisoners of war.
if you are here, you can learn a lot from Croats, how many ways you can use the prisoner for your purpose. They use them as a human shield in advancing. They are pushing them in front of their forces and shooting over their heads. Last time they sent 4 prisoners in uniform, in this uniform, and they give them a wood rifle. They made a wood rifle, and they sent them to run over the front line on our lines to see where our bunker is.
By sheer chance, we witnessed and filmed the use by the Croats of Bosnian civilians from West Mostar as human shields.
For 5 months there's been prisoners on the heliodrome. How many?
10 or 12,000.
Yeah. Right, these people that have just been expelled from the west side, human shield.
Yes, home and he...
To make you understand what just happened there, yeah? That firefight used without foreman. The Havio, yeah? What they do is all the prisoners, either from the heliodrome or the people who they're expelling from the west side of the city,
They line them up in front of their troops and they send them across. The old trick's about what they used to do with the Viet Cong to get them to clear minefields. They just send them straight across the middle of the fucking front line as a cover for their own troops coming across because they're fucking cowards. That's the problem, they're criminal fucking cowards. That's what they're doing with our fucking people.
And that's why these people are here?
Yeah. The woman you saw crying, her husband never made it, he's lying out there somewhere. He'll lie there forever because no one can go and get his body. He's in the middle of the front line.
Human shield?
Yeah, human shield. That's what you witnessed.
The question now is this evidence of a war crime which can be investigated by the United Nations when this conflict eventually ends?
They want to kill us, to kill people. We are ready to live with them together in this town, not in this town, in the whole country.
The residents of East Mostar are used to the tears. Most of their graveyards are overflowing, full of civilian victims.
Now it's grow in this, it's full. You cannot bury anyone here anymore. All of these people killed by HVO, grenades, snipers.
Snipers take out a lot of people, and there's some bad snipers who'll kill anyone, you know. As far as sniping goes, this country is full of natural hunters. It's a hunting country, so it's a natural thing for people to be able to do, and there's a lot of hunting rifles, so there's a lot of sniping weaponry there.
The Bosnians too have their deadly riflemen. Baba and Jim are trained snipers. They have killed many times and are members of an elite team. From here, a good sniper can control much of the Croat lines.
You know, only way to escape from sniper.
Yes, I've done quite a bit of sniping out here. That is waging psychological war against the enemy we're fighting.
70, 80 grenades fall in this little bit.
I can sleep at night, no problem at all. People think killing's a big, bad, evil thing. It's actually a pretty simple thing to do. There's no big deal at all. I prefer to talk about the people I've saved, and if killing is a means to that end, then it's worth it.
This is where many sniper victims get hit, the river Neretva. For many, the only source of water to which they must come if they are to survive.
You've got to understand, this isn't a war like the British Army would fight. Like, for example, in the Gulf, you know, we could look both directions and you see nothing but armour. It was immense. Here, you're constantly trying to wear the enemy down, and through guerrilla actions, psychological warfare, which is sniping, is a great weapon for that, and use it effectively.
This man has paid the ultimate price for risking a trip to the river.
People go to the river to collect their water because you need it. You know, you may last 40 days or something without food. You won't last much more than 5-6 days without water. So you've got a choice. You take the risk of being killed by a sniper collecting your water, or you don't get water and die anyway. Survival. The risks have got to be taken.
This is East Mostar's only surviving hospital. It is mostly without electricity or running water.
The biggest problem is hospital, of course, because we have a lot of wounded. We don't have medicine. We don't have proper building for hospital. We have a problem with the doctors and everything. And the biggest problem is recovering of the wounded, seriously wounded or lightly wounded.
These are just women here, women which are wounded by shrapnels of grenades. Hospitals are completely full with civilians. We haven't almost any soldiers. In one day we have about 8 or 9 wounded civilians and 1 soldier which is wounded by shrapnel.
Why don't we have food, water, electricity? They just want to strangle us because they don't have enough strength to attack us to finish with that.
These are wounds of this woman. She's
sniper.
Great. he is pretty serious one. He needs 24-hour treatment. This soldier is his son. He must be here with her to take care about her. Yeah, we have a little girl. Stomach is damaged. Mother is killed by that grenade. She is not enabled to speak. Brain is also damaged. Her chances here are pretty weak. Before 15 days, doctor sent a request to Spanish battalion that she goes some better hospital, but they still not answer on that. We also have 3 more child must have better conditions.
I would say that the ratio is 2/3 civilians and 1/3 military. What is characteristic, judging by the influx of casualties, is that the number of casualties increases during periods of distribution of water and food. This shows that those places are subjected to massive artillery attacks precisely during the distribution of water and food.
400 operation is made on this table, and other 340 is reserve. We have problems with flies, with insects, with everything. This is sterilizing room for doctors and equipment and everything. Until now, we haven't any rats here, but probably it will come soon.
A UN medical team has come to the hospital to see about the evacuation of a wounded Croat soldier. The Bosnian doctor wants some of his seriously ill patients taken out too.
HV submits a request. He will be evacuated instantly.
Okay, fine. That we can arrange. But in the meantime, we brought blood for the transfusion.
Vojnici, ja sam dekar I doktor, rekli sam da ovdje ima vrlo malo šanse. Šta će biti sa tim čovjekom, to je pitanje.
I asked for his evacuation 4 days ago, and his condition is rather bad. So I'm a doctor in the first place, and I wanted this man to be helped. He cannot be properly treated here in this hospital.
Sličan slučaj imali smo I sa ovom našom kolegicom, doktoricom Čamđić. Vjerujemo kasnije.
We had a similar case with one of our colleagues when we were authorized finally to evacuate her. She died.
After more than a year of sustained bombardment, the Croats finally managed to zero in on their most famous target.
In all, we fired on that day about maybe 30 to 50 shells, deliberately targeting the bridge. It's the mentality of the Ustasha, you know. Destroy the bridge, destroy the history, destroy the people, they think. They just kept blatting until eventually it fell. Then let it go with their machine guns and things to celebrate, which is pretty normal. There was no military need to destroy that bridge. It was not a blow to life in Mostar, except they try to take away the soul of Mostar. They try to destroy the soul of the place. But all they're doing is strengthening the resolve of the people. It's a special bridge, you know, it wasn't just a bridge.
Jim Wilson now has a price on his head, like most British ex-servicemen who joined the Bosnian cause.
The price on the head is just scaremongering. It was estimated at 30 grand when we stepped in the country, and it goes up by the amount of work we've done, so God knows what it's meant to be now. The only fear is that some idiot back home gets wind of this and decides to take you out without finding out where to collect, and then they find out they can't, you know.
Not only the British fighters risk being shot if the Bosnians lose.
Once it's all over, you know, for a period of time anyway, a lot of the Bosnians in the same situation because they're good fighters during the war. They'll kill them afterwards, you know, but after a time, they'll be okay. lot of things are just normal war. The guys are there doing their duty. Some men may have revenge in their heads for what's happened to their families. You get some people who just want to kill. They'll black all day, you know. Black all day, just for the sake of it. You get guys who've maybe had enough of the war. They're just giving up hope, you know.
Another frontline command post, another group of volunteers, and further examples of the ethnic mix within the Bosnian army.
I'm a commander of an interventionist platoon, and my everyday duties are to visit the men who are our scouts and who monitor the movements of enemy forces. My parents are Serbs, born in this town, as I was 25 years ago. I had a lot of friends in this town, and I still do, who are of all ethnic backgrounds, so we decided at the very beginning to defend this town altogether. Look at this one. We are in the middle. This is the Šantića Street. We follow this part and make them unable to have the access to it. We were supposed to get the replacement that night, but no one came. What was the reason for that? I don't know. But these things happen. Everything will be in order.
Evo sad dolazimo do drugog sukoba, kao što se desilo prije 50 godina.
Now we have this other conflict, like the one of 50 years ago, experienced by my parents and the parents of my soldiers. Now we are fighting so that our children would be spared the same experience and that we can continue to live in a community in which all will be equal.
The most valuable commodity in East Mostar, apart from guns and ammunition, are young men. This is Baba's younger brother, and the fear is that he will soon join the fight.
Value life of people here, you know, they value life like nothing else. It's upsetting to find his little brother has now decided to join the army, you know. I just know from before that the thing that scared Baba most about dying was the fact that his brother would then join the army to take his place. The overpowering thing to keep Baba alive was to keep him out the fight, you know. But now he's involved, and that's his decision, you know, it's a family decision they made.
Baba's brother's decision has brought Jim Wilson to a crossroads too. He's decided to stay in Mostar to help continue the fight to save this city and the people who still live in it.
I'm staying here now because there's no way I'm leaving this again. I can't justify to myself doing nothing when this goes on, and certainly not when it's happening to my friends. Someone has got to do something to stop what's happening here. It is wrong. It's all it is about, right and wrong.
If you find a friend in the war, it's much stronger friendship than in a peace. I don't know exactly why, but they spent a few months together in the fighting, and they know better than I why they are so close friends.
If I had one wish, I'd like to say to anybody who watches this, who have managed to learn how to watch suffering and massacre and not give a shit and not do anything about it, I'd love you to teach me how to do it, because it'd make my life so much simpler. But now it's too late for me. I think I'm involved, but I'd love to know how not to care, you know, because the world doesn't.